Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Renaissance Center chat. This month we'll be talking about women's mental health. But before we get into that, I'd like to invite you on April 11th. We'll be kicking off our Renaissance Center's 25th anniversary with a mental health conversation. It'll be from 12 to 2 p.m. in the Sanctuary Morning Star at 1512 Woodlawn Drive. Again, that's April 11th, the kickoff of our 25th anniversary celebrations. So we're going to get right into this women's mental health discussion, and I have two great guests, and I am happy that they could be with us today. Okay, we're all here. Hopefully, the internet will work in our favor tonight. So I'd like to welcome Angela Smith and Reverend Rae-Lynn Kingeter. And I would like you all to introduce yourselves, and then we will get right into it. So Angela and then Rae-Lynn.
Good evening, ladies. I am happy to join you all tonight. My name is Angela Smith. I am currently the Director of Growth Ministries and Pastoral Counseling at the Psalmist Baptist Church. I am a licensed clinical professional counselor. My passion is ministry, particularly ministering to women. And I am just here to encourage you tonight and to be encouraged.
Good evening, ladies. I'm so excited to be with you this evening, excited to be in the midst of such greatness today. My name is Rae-Lynn Kingeter. I am a certified counselor with the National Board of Certified Counselors. I'm also a former pastor. I have been a clinician for over 23 years, and I am just excited. My passion is empowering and encouraging women and just seeing women to just become their whole wonderful selves as God has empowered them to do. So excited to be amongst the chat this evening.
That's great. So we're all on here because we are excited about women, excited about Women's History Month and all the contributions that women make. And with that being in mind, we're going to go right into one of it's not a recent phenomenon, but it's just an ongoing part of our community, the superwoman syndrome. So why do women fall into that? How do we get so tied up into being everything to everybody? And Angela and then Rae-Lynn.
Um, I don't know that we choose that. I believe that there are a number of factors that kind of predispose us or have predisposed us in the past to seeing ourselves as super women. Certainly, our historical context is a part of that. Um, Coming through slavery, it was a matter of survival. To see yourself as strong, to be strong, not just in body, but in mind and in spirit. To be able to overcome the harshness, to be able to overcome the atrocities, the losses that we were exposed to during that time. And I believe as a result of that, we have come to a place where culturally we are just expected to be strong because we've always been strong. Um, so I think in addition to that, the economic conditions that many of us have grown up under have, in many instances, we've had to be adults before we were finished being children.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, there was a whole persona of "I got this" that we incorporated in our identity.
Yeah, that sums it up. Sums it up.
And to piggyback on another side of that, there's always been a pressure for women, African American women, to do it all, and that I can do it all. But for the most part, a lot of it comes from we've seen it modeled. In modern day, we see mentors, we see women out there doing it, and I can do it, or we admire someone who has done it and and aspired to do the same. But it's also a legacy, as Angela had mentioned. We've seen it done, and we are expected to do. And it's also rooted in our faith. Faith taught us that we are capable. Faith taught us that we are equipped. And it's the image. Sometimes it's just the image that I want to be like that, and we drive to do that, and we carry it on. But it's also in turn, we fall into it because of, in some instances, a space of disappointment where we have relied on others to do things. We have counted on others to do things, and it did not happen. And we literally had to pick up the ball and run with it, but also going to the fact that I can't rely on anyone else to get it done. And so we fall into, I have to be all and do all things just to make it happen.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Our role models, our family systems that we grew up in have a lot to do with it. Our mothers, aunts, grandparents, they held two jobs their whole lives, went to church, ran the church once they got there, and then helped raise the whole neighborhood. So again, was modeled for us, but not really understanding the cost to to them and now to ourselves, since we've kind of picked up that baton and kept it going. And in this current cultural environment and the political season we're in, it's people are wearing thin of that, and are as a few of the clinicians have been saying, we're burning the cape. Um, I can't think of her name now, but it'll come to me. But she has had something where that's what she's promoting. We need to burn the cape. I just got to get her name out there. But with that being said, if we're gonna try to move past the unspoken commitments that we've taken on from generations, how do we overcome not, always seeking help? Women feel like they'll say that I don't have support, I don't have anybody to turn to, and that may or may not be true. But how can we help women to know it's okay to seek support? And Rae-Lynn and then Angela.
Let them know that they are, it's a safe space. When you have someone to talk to, you can basically let them know that this is a safe space and I can hold you. But also, um, moving past, and I think we're doing a great job of moving past the stigma of seeking help is something wrong with you, when it's not that. Talking through issues and problems outside of your friend circle is the best way to handle a lot of your life situations. For one, you don't have bias, and two, there's other people can help lead and guide you through what you're feeling, and letting you know it's okay to say you're not okay, and that it's
Right.
okay if you're sad. There's nothing wrong, because we all go through periods where we have problems coping. And when we talk to others to help guide us there, um, it helps others to see that this is a good thing. Also, for those, just going back to my own training from where I graduated from, they made you go into therapy before they let you be a therapist. Best thing ever happened to me. I have a therapist, as most rich people have attorneys on retainer. I have a therapist on retainer who I check in with once a month just to say, I'm
Mhm.
doing okay, but I just need to check in to let you know I'm doing okay. Or if there's a day where I'm not doing okay, I send a call. I need a session now. Fit me in somewhere, somehow within the next 24 hours so that I can just talk through my issues. Because sometimes talking to someone who is unbiased, who will let you know that it's okay and you can move past it. And for those who are actually have seen someone, just to let them know, oh, I used to see somebody or I still see somebody, and that has helped me through, is a great way to move into that direction and bring others into the light.
That's great.
So I would add to that we normalize mental health, and I think that Dr. Kingeter has alluded to that as well. That we don't see mental health any differently than we see physical health. That we know that when something is not functioning right in our physical body, we are exhibiting physical symptoms, we go and we get that checked out. Well, let us get the same mindset for our mental and emotional health. And the more that we can have these kinds of conversations,
Yes.
and the more that we can encourage our sister girls to have those conversations with each other, with family members, with other women that they are connected to help make it a total safe space for us to be open and vulnerable about our need to get care. I think part of that is also helping us understand the cost of not being well mentally, how that over time impacts our physical health, high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, on and on and on, to the point that untreated, yes, we will have mental emotional illness, but we will also have physical illness as well. Um, yes.
Yeah, yeah, those are some good points because if we continue to delay care, we put ourselves and others, in harm's way. And so I agree, normalizing, getting care, getting assistance, seeking help, reaching out to friends, saying that we need to talk. Just know a lot of people are busy, but it's okay to kind of pick up the phone and reach out to your friends. Remember, we're on YouTube and Facebook. So if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. Ask these questions so we can get you the help and the encouragement that you need in this season because many of us are carrying some heavy loads and we can't do it by ourselves and we don't have to, and we want you women to know that we're here for you, and there are many people that want you to win. We want you to win, and we can do that when we are together. We can do that when we're together. So keep that in mind. Put it in the chat on YouTube and on the website. Facebook isn't up right now, so we will go from there. Now, with that being said, we want women to do it. We are saying how great it is because it's helping us mentally, emotionally, physically if we reach out and get a support system. But we still know that even though we're encouraging it, there are barriers to
Mhm.
getting that care. So, Angela and then Rae-Lynn, what do you feel are some of the barriers?
I think some of the barriers are, again, having our cultural stigmas of, number one,
Mhm.
going for help. It for many signals something's wrong with me,
Mhm.
and so we don't want to validate that by going to someone who we typically see as a person that we go to if something is wrong with you. So helping to kind of shift that narrative, I think will also help bring women into care.
Yeah, that's good.
Some of the barriers we find, um, I think one of the largest ones, and I'm saying this in a great way, is sometimes our faith. Our faith teaches us, like in Joshua 1:9, is be strong and courageous. And Philippians, like be anxious for nothing. And a lot of us who are really faith based and steep in our faith, we kind of lean on that when we can, while that's good for support, it should not be viewed as the only outlet that you can do. So that's some of the barriers, but a lot of the barriers are still some of the old things like shame. Can I trust anyone with with my stuff? Are you going to tell anyone about what I'm going through? Sometimes it's actually a cost. Sometimes they seek counseling and cannot even afford it. So sometimes it's not even cost effective. And then sometimes we are our own barriers. We self-sabotage where we trying to figure out that, okay, I can handle this, I can do this, I don't need it, or I'll get to it. And in fact, we never even get down that road. But when we get one last one is not knowing where to turn and where to go. So these are some of the other outliers and barriers that are in the way. But when we get to the point of realizing that I can't handle this, I need to talk to someone. A great example is in just having open conversations with a lot of people. My daughter, when she was 14, she's now a very, very grown adult woman now, literally came to me at age 14 and said, Mom, I need to talk to someone. And so when you open space up to those around you and keep these spaces open, so people feel that you are approachable, that you are able to guide, then the barriers are being broken down. And again, having forums like this one, talking about them, setting up forums in other spaces, not just inside the church, but seeing a need in community spaces and saying, hey, we're going to open up and have a monthly women's get together, and then having topics where women can feel safe and free to talk about what's going on in life. Because there are so many women who are suffering silently about different things in life where it does not need to be, if they know that there are resources and people out there willing to assist. So sometimes it's just not out there enough. And getting past the stigma of there's something wrong with me, when there's nothing wrong with you. You just need some place to voice what's going on with you.
Can I throw one more in that I just thought about as well? We need to make sure that we provide, as therapists, we provide culturally competent care. And that there is access to culturally competent care to address so that people feel like they are seen as a whole person, all of me. But in addition to that, to be seen and not only as culturally competent, but to be able to speak to me in a place of, I guess, I'm going to say it this way, respect. Oftentimes women go to practitioners and their symptoms are minimized or overlooked altogether. So if I go to you, then I need you to see me and hear me. So sometimes the barriers are not being taken seriously, not being seen as a whole person, and not and judging whether or not what I'm coming to you is legitimate or real.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know now a lot of primary care offices do a anxiety checklist and a depression checklist. Whether they ask you about it afterwards is a whole nother story, but that kind of opens up the door for you. Even in that setting, as women, we can start bringing up those issues. If they're doing those screenings, you can say, hey, doc, I see I had a lot of threes on this. It seemed like I'm challenged in a lot of areas. How can I get some help? So we need to be okay and courageous enough to take our own health and our mental health in particular into our own hands. And I like how you brought up the spiritual stigma, the religious language,
Mm-hmm.
and how our institutions, our churches and ministries and other organizations sometimes are not valuing that aspect of ourselves. And we know that the mind is central to even being a part of a faith tradition. Your mind is in that too. So it's not like you just show up and worship and engage in worship mindlessly. Well, we shouldn't, but sometimes we forget that we're a whole person, and so that being okay and the stigma, and reducing the stigma within, because we can be our own, as we said earlier, a barrier to our own health, and again, it's to our own detriment. And it's just, we want people to know it's okay to get help, it's okay to reach out. And if there are resources available to people who may not see it as in their budgets, it's different options that people can look into so that they can get the care they need. And again, we have support groups. Um, Women's ministry is good. It's not therapy, but it's around other people. You might meet a friend there that, and maybe that's the answer to some of your mental health challenges. You need a friend. Friendship is really key to a healthy mental life and spiritual life. So these are some things that are practical ways that women can improve their mental health. And so, with that being said, what are some of those practical ways that women can improve their mental health if they are, a little nervous about going into therapy or joining a support group? What are some options that you recommend, Rae-Lynn and then Angela?
I am huge. Well, let me start with this. Trending now to spa days, and a lot of women are going to spas, and it's great for releasing um, in the moment. Um, but as soon as you leave the spa, you walk back into your life. And so I am a huge, huge, huge proponent of mindfulness and yoga. Um, there's so many different forms of yoga, but the one that I recommend for most people who are literally struggling with issues is it's called restorative yoga, and it just restores and gets you. It is more focused on the mindfulness and the breathing aspect of yoga than it is the physical part of yoga. And it literally restores you back to a place with the breathing, because your breathing literally affects your nervous system and it calms the body down. And most of us, whether we know it or not, we do not breathe correctly. We breathe out of our chest when you should be breathing out of your belly. And when your body receives that in the right manner through yoga, it relaxes the nervous system, it calms the body, it calms the mind, and it restores. That's why it's called restorative yoga. It restores you back to a place, because your nervous system is so very connected to your emotional health. But when you go through the mindfulness and you listen through the meditation, it brings you back into a place, and it releases those endorphins, which brings you back to working out. We should be doing some type of workout outside of yoga, which I recommend highly. that will help release these endorphins, but also build on your physical health. Because when your body feels good, in terms, your mental health falls into place. And so we need to get into the physical aspects of all of that. But I'm huge on the yoga piece, but also find a hobby. You have to find something to focus and concentrate on. Like, I love dancing. Whenever anybody finds me that's like, I know you somewhere dancing, I do, because it's something I can do alone. It's something that I can focus on, something I can release in, something that I can lose myself in. But music soothes me. The music soothes me. And so you need to find that something to tap into. But I highly recommend that women try the mindfulness piece till they really get themselves into a space where they can begin to build other entities.
That's good.
I would say that we also pay attention to our relational needs, our relationships, um, having and setting healthy boundaries. As the saying goes, no is a complete sentence. It stands on its own. Have no apprehension about putting your needs over others. Maybe not all the time, but more than you normally would. So seeing yourself as a priority and setting healthy boundaries. Um, Boundaries that not only are intended to necessarily keep people out, but boundaries that say, these are the things that I need in this relationship. And holding people accountable for that are in your space for having reciprocal relationships where it's not just you being the person who is always the giver, who is always pouring out, but not being poured back into. So setting those boundaries, setting balance in those boundaries, weeding out people who are toxic to your life. You know, letting go of maintaining those kinds of relationships because they only precipitate and aggravate and exacerbate stress in your life. Um, I would also, I guess, add to that, have fun. Like, as I said, a hobby or whatever, but create some joy in your life. Um, do things that allow you to touch base with God's creation. Everybody isn't necessarily an outdoor person, but again, having those opportunities to be still and know that God is still God and that He is there with you and can restore you. But we have to hold space for Him. We have to create space for Him to be in our lives, to help guide us and restore us and replenish us and help us navigate through some of the difficult terrains that we have. And one of the better ways to do that is to sit with Him in some honest, open, vulnerable prayer time where we're not just doing the talking, but God is actually speaking to us and we are still enough and open enough to hear what He is saying to us.
That's some really good advice. I mean, from the hobbies to the restorative yoga to, as you hear people say, go touch some grass. And that just means get outside, do something different, get off the screens. So while we're here today giving you information, we need to limit our screen time. That's another way to restore yourself and to be able to have your mind in a different place. Because while it's a lot of great information here on the internet, some of it is not, and we need to set our own limits to how much screen time. We're doing it for the kids, we need to do it for ourselves as adults, and because it's that that imposter syndrome, because we're seeing other people do things and now we think we're not up to speed with whatever we're doing. The comparisons that we're making is impacting our mental health. But it's some of the things that we can do as women to be mentally healthy are just, as we said, boundaries, saying no, touch some grass, get some things that you are interested in. And one of the things is, as we grow older, sometimes our relationships change, sometimes relationships and friendships end without explanation. We lose contact. Maybe people move across the country or they just move around the corner and we lose contact. So those things do open up a void. And when we have a void, it's important to fill that void with healthy things like solitude and prayer and healthy friendships. And I want to bring this up. This is one of my favorite topics. It's not what we're focusing on all tonight only, but it's Problem Gambling Month. So I want to bring that up because some of us, in what we're doing to release and relieve our stress, is we're picking up addictions along the way. We're picking up habits, whether it's problem gambling, and when it's a problem, when you have to borrow money to pay your rent and car note, that's a problem. So we're not talking about recreational, casual uh, uh, use of and use of gambling. Also, what I noticed over the pandemic, that the increase in drinking. So that's is really causing a lot of physical health challenges with women now, because we're drinking more than one glass of wine. We're going to two glasses a night, then up to a bottle for some people in a short period of time because of stress and anxiety. What, like I said, you went from one drink to several drinks to now several bottles. So these are some of the ways that people, you may say, hey, I'm good, my thing is working, but you're in the casino, you're playing the lottery and not paying your rent, you're drinking every night, and doing other things that can become addictive. You know what your addictive behavior is. So be mindful as you're looking to release and relieve stress. It's healthy ways like touching grass, which is free. Just go outside, breathe, and come back in. Or it's some of these other habits that can become addictive, and then again, you're in a spiral in that part of your life because you were trying to relieve stress in another part of life. So, any other ways? I know I went on to the unhealthy ways we're trying to relieve stress and address our mental health. Do you all have any other things you're seeing that people are substituting in a way to try to relieve their stress that's in an unhealthy manner?
Well, maybe not so much to relieve it, something that we are not doing to make it better, and that is sleeping.
Yes.
We have become a culture of not sleeping. We don't get enough sleep, and this is the pot calling kettle black, because that is one of the things that I have been working on, is going to bed and getting enough rest. Recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night, which means that we have to turn off some of our TV shows, close up the laptop and the cell phone, and get some sleep. Sleep restores, sleep repairs, sleep helps us to function, it reduces irritability. all of those things. So we have to learn to sleep, and we have to learn to rest. Now, one might say, well, I'm sleeping, so I'm good. But we also have to learn to rest. Rest in finding days where you unload your mind, you let go of all of your thoughts, and you just take time to let your body relax. Again, not we can do activities, but sometimes it's just good to just sit still, read a book, but rest and sleep.
Another unhealthy habit we are finding is people are very busy. And when I say busy, they're accepting all types of invitations to anything just so that they don't have to, or as their way of escaping. Anyone asks anything, whether it's engagements to engage in activities or going out with friends constantly, and learning to just say no. I followed this and I give this advice all the time. Every invitation is not an obligation. And it's okay to say, no, not today, no, not this time, whether you want to be a part of it or not. But there are some people that are way too busy because they haven't learned how to say no. They don't want to say no, or it's filling the void because if I'm focusing on this, then I don't have to worry about everything else that's really happening in my life. And so learning to say no and feeling good about saying no, is what we need to do, and stop being so busy. And again, it's the pot calling the kettle black. I looked at my calendar for the month of March. I
Yeah.
have something every single day for 31 days. And I'm like, this is just crazy. But I still find time, for my release when because I'm in the gym working out, and I'm also finding time to just sit and read the book or travel. But I also travel a whole lot. I know how to vacation. I know how to get away. I know everybody. I went to the doctor today. He said, "When was your last vacation?" I said, "A week ago." "When's your next one?" "About 3 weeks from now," because I know how to pull away, to get away. And we need to stop being busy. And by being in ministry, you can be busy all the time. And you have to learn how to step back and say no. And again, because every invitation is not an obligation.
That's good. I mean, y'all helping me tonight. So I need more sleep, and every invitation is not an obligation. But it's really good to hear this, because that'll free a lot of us up, because sometimes we get into a place where we are doing things out of obligation, even our commitment in ministry can be out of obligation, but not out of a good place, not out of worship, not out of love, not out of wanting to honor God. So sometimes that our mental health again impacts our spiritual health, which impacts our physical health. So all of these things are on the table when we're talking about mental health. So the sleep. I can do like a self-assessment of any kind. So if a couple of things going on at the same time, I already know is I didn't sleep, too much caffeine, stressed out. I got a list, and then it's up to me once I realize. But I feel like by the time your body is into it, for me, it's like, oh, I'm gone too far, because now my body is sending me signals. So these are some of the things as women we can do something about. It's not something that um, anybody else can do for us. We have to really recognize it, and it's okay to have a day where you just do nothing and sit and stare and be at peace and quiet. You don't have to read everything work related. You can have some fun books. You can do things that are recreational that are not always costly, because we'll say, well, I can't afford the gym, but you can walk outside around the block. You can go to the park, walk around the track. So there are some things we can do, and that where cost isn't always a barrier to our mental and physical health. Uh, we had some great comments. Rest helps us align with God. This conversation is really hitting home for a lot of you viewers. So keep in mind, I hope you're taking notes. These are some things that we've all experienced at one time or another, and also people that we help on a regular basis get their lives into a place and space where they can feel that they can manage it. How can mental health and faith leaders address the needs of Black women? So we know we have the superwoman syndrome. We believe that God's going to fix it, and this is just how I am wired. These are some of the things we hear from some of the women we encounter. So, as mental health professionals and as churches and clergy, how can we help Black women overcome some of these mindsets? Angela and Rae-Lynn.
Oh, okay. So here again, I think that in the mental health field, we can help create a safe space for women to openly talk about whatever they are going through or whatever they're dealing with, and not ascribe shame to that. We can help them to not see wherever they are as something that they have to be ashamed of. Again, I think that we, as mental health professionals, have to meet people where they are, help them to understand the whole phenomena, how they got there, and how this is not a stamp of identity for you. These are just symptoms that you are experiencing, but it's not who you are. And to help them to change how they see themselves. From the spiritual perspective, again, I think that we, like in society, not say, oh, God is not going to give you more than you can bear. You're strong, hang in there. It's going to be all right. We open our conversation in our churches to being mentally aware, and to help to, again, normalize mental health care as not something that is unusual, but something that we all should ascribe to whenever we have that need.
Yeah, that's great.
For the faith-based in churches, we can do again programming. For example, what I just began for the women in my congregation, a lot of them were pulling me side to side. Can we talk? Can we talk? Can we talk? So what I began to do is do a chat and chew. But I don't do it inside the church. We go to various restaurants where they can eat, and we talk and we hold in a private area conversations that they want to open. And then for the more in-depth conversations, we do a forum inside the church as well. That's goes along with the women's ministry. But when you hold the two different types, because there are I'm finding that a lot of women don't want to come into the church space, but would like to go outside of the church. And we hold these two and we offer it up. But also I find, which is very, very effective for me, is as I touch the women, meaning I walk up to you, how are you? how the kids, and that tends to open up a door and a window for them to talk about some things. Or can I call you later, or I drop in throughout the week, just pick up the phone. You were on my mind today. I'm checking in with you. It's all as well. So in the church, just being more available for the women, that when they see that you care, they're more likely to open up. And then it's very easy to say, maybe we can talk about this. Maybe we can refer out. And I do a lot of referring out. Um, so that they could feel more safe and secure and discussing things. But also, as a mental health professional, again, a lot of forums like this one. I'm going into different areas and different community centers and different institutions. And when you see a need, to incorporate a need, and just be open to use your spirit of discernment to be open to where you see things that are needed in a community, and you step in and you begin things, begin programming. I'm huge on programming, huge on starting things, huge in having things open up in different areas and different communities for different people to talk. um, I'd like to entitle it, "Let's talk about it." So whatever's on your heart, let's talk about it. Whatever's on your mind, let's talk about it. And again, as Angela said, just holding space for people to let them know that we're open and it's good. But having them to see that we can do this in house and outside of house, and just being
Yeah.
very, very approachable. And small group settings work wonders for so
Yeah.
many people, and it's so very important that we actually offer those.
Yeah.
I just like to underscore that the programming and the small group opportunities that we can create for women to have conversations, because so much can come from that. I'll just share a quick story. I think it was maybe Saturday. I went to pick up a prescription, and I was standing, the line was long, I was standing in line, and one of the ladies from our church was there, who was a part of a small group that I led back in 2027. She shared with me while we were standing that she still keeps in touch with all of the members of that group through a text thread and through conversations, and they encourage each other. They that several have had deaths over that period. They grieve with each other. So there's so much that can be done through connections.
Hmm.
Um, they feed us spiritually, they feed us relationally. So creating those opportunities within the ministry context and outside of the ministry context. And for the ladies who are with us tonight, uh, you can initiate your own group. You can pull together some of your sister friends, some of your coworkers, where you all decide that you can meet up somewhere and have a conversation once a month. You can meet on a free Zoom line and have some informal conversations. All of these things helped us to be um, healthy mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah, I like these suggestions, being some organized meetings in small groups, and then some informal settings. Some
Hmm.
one-on-ones where if you're seeing people and they're approaching you, just to have a conversation or for prayer or for just a referral or advice, that we are our brother and sisters keepers, and so we who know uh, and have resources, can share it with those persons who are seeking resources and seeking support. Do we have all the answers? No, but something that was shared here tonight we can all take that to someone else, even if fact that we can create our own small group that is based upon our interests. I mean, we have different, interesting small groups at church. The crochet club, right, or people who quilt, or different things that bring a community of people together. So these are some things that mean you have to get out of your comfort zone. A lot of this means that. So we know a lot of people love to say, and everybody says this, and everybody feels this way. They're very private. I don't talk to people. I'm very private. I hear this all the time, how very private people are. But as much as we are private, we are in community. So God gives us one another so that we can have a support system, even in our being very private. God will supply someone that you can connect with that's like minded, that's encouraging. So don't let that be a barrier because you're very private. This is, you just don't make friends well. You've had relationships with people and it didn't work out. We've all been there and done that, and it is painful. Heal from that and then try again to find a safe space and place where you can share what's on your heart, because it's important for us as people, as women in particular. Tonight we're talking about women's mental health, for us to begin to heal. Our children are impacted by it, our other family members and friends, and more importantly, we're impacted by not taking care of ourselves. We must get some rest, some sleep, get some downtime. You don't have to do it all. No is a complete sentence. We heard that. Boundaries. I'm always talking about boundaries in general, but boundaries, everything isn't for everybody. And it's okay if you have some strained relationships. I'm going to free you tonight about that. Don't worry about that. I don't know anybody that doesn't have strained relationships with somebody, or some faction of the family or friend circle, or uh, people at work. Let those kinds of things go, because we're internalizing it and we're stressing ourselves out because things aren't the way we thought they would be by now at this age. Fill in the gap. By this time, I thought this would be happening. By this time, I thought this would be happening. So some of the stress that we encounter, we've kind of placed on ourselves, and I want you to be free from yourself. Sometimes, you got to say, I get on my own nerves. So, I don't know who says that to themselves, but I know I get on my own nerves. So, hey, say it, free yourself, and then keep it moving. But we have to be honest with how we impact our own mental health, just by holding on to baggage, and we all have that too. So welcome to the club. We got baggage. We get on our own nerves. People don't like us too either. So these are some things that keep people in bondage. But hey, the three of us, we've been there, done that, and we have survived it. So that's what I want to let you all know. You will survive all of it, but we want you to survive it with your mind intact. We want this to be good. You got to have a good mind all the way up to the end. That's our goal. We want to go out on top. So, and you can do that with less stress. Any last advice? I gave all of mine, right? But any last tips for women who are trying to get their mental health on track?
Um, be not afraid to seek help. Be not afraid to reach out to someone close to you to ask them to help you. Be not afraid to say no. Learn to turn stuff down and just focus on yourself. As Angela has said, it's okay to be selfish sometimes, in a good way, but it's find your best way to handle whatever life is bringing you, and that's through talking. Sometimes you'll find that talking through it will bring you through it, and you'll feel the better for it.
Amen.
I would offer, and for whomever this is for, God has laid this on my heart for you, that lay down your S shirt, rip it up, tear it up, burn it up, and allow space for God to hold you instead of you holding everyone else. Be emotionally honest with yourself about what you need, and be selfish enough to set some priorities to meet those needs.
Amen. That's some good advice. I thank you, ladies, for joining us. I appreciate your time and squeezing this subject matter in Women's History Month, and we know we can go forward and be in a better place mentally, spiritually, and physically because of our talk tonight. So thanks again. Thanks for all our viewers who joined us tonight. Again, the Renaissance Center is celebrating 25 years. Join us on April 11th as we kick off with a mental health conversation um, with um, with many clinicians as panelists, and we have guest speakers. So we're excited about what God is doing at the Renaissance Center and what He has done for over 25 years. So we hope to see you next month at the Mental Health Conversation.